Got a question from Sachin Sile. His question is about you. Um, what were you up to as a teenager? But I think maybe more broadly is if you could speak to the teenage entrepreneurs out there. What are you seeing? What are you seeing as opportunities for them? Have you met anyone recently that just really blew you away with a new take on something you hadn't thought of?
So listen, if I'm going to give an answer to reach out and give a message to teenagers, it's going to be the most Netflix advice of all, which is chill, you know, relax. Don't worry, take your time. And you can say, what was I doing in my teenage years? But I was doing the same thing until I was 30. I didn't move to California until I was 30. I didn't get into tech until I was 32. I was a geology major in college. I had a 2.7 GPA. I was not on this track driven and focused from the very beginning. I was basically following my curiosity. I was taking whatever courses were interesting. I was doing entrepreneurial stuff, but it wasn't starting companies. I was, doing school magazines. I was putting on plays. I was starting outing clubs. I was doing all these things, which to me were these recognitions that I saw this hole and I go, I'm going to try and fill that hole. And what a surprise that the skills required to do that, even when I was 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, whatever it was, were the exact same skills that I would use many years later. I would have to convince people to come help me for no money, but just for the excitement of doing something. I'd have to convince the people with the resources, the student government, to fund me. I'd have to communicate with confidence and clarity. Here's where we're going, even if I wasn't, in fact, that confident or clear. And I did that over and over and over again in scenarios that were very, very low consequence and internalized and got better and better and better at it. That's what I was doing when I was a teenager. I was, in college, I did say I was a geology major, but I had no aspirations of being a geologist. In some ways, I was I majored in extracurriculars. And I don't mean like, drinking and chasing women. I mean, I was taking this opportunity to do all of these things that I got to build something in a time when if I screwed it up, well, I still had a cafeteria to go to and I still had a dorm room to go back to. So this is the time. Take these chances. That's my path. And it's amazing now because you have tools that I never had access to. I mean, because right now the technical stack is so good that if you want to start something, it's really easy. You don't, if I, back then, I couldn't have done of course, the internet wasn't there. But I mean, I couldn't do a website. I didn't know how to code it up myself. I couldn't buy the servers. I couldn't wire them in. I couldn't write my own payment portals. But now you don't need to do any of that stuff. You can get onto Amazon. You can use PayPal or Stripe. You can, you can use a Squarespace. Everything is like, or Shopify. Everything's easy. So do something. Don't think.